Come here. We are standing here in front of passengers where I'd rather just go in and take Pilates or get a massage. I'm a bit nervous. I'm not sure I could do what we're about to do.
Shania!
Oh, I have to go. Shh. I'm coming, Mason.
So glad to see you all here today. We are Impact with Think Truth Today and are taking a warrior stance on healthy choices for youth and young adults. Today our discussion will be dating, or to some, the dating game.
This is what not to do. This causes unnecessary trauma. Come on, follow us to the Camden Archives.
Here is where we have the archives of Kershaw County. You know, the sexual revolution or STD battle that has been going on way before my time.
Anaya, wait for Dr. Elizabeth's time too.
Wow, that's old.
Yeah.
Follow us to the courthouse.
Shania!
Hey everybody, we're here at the Kershaw County Courthouse, where legal decisions are made. It also contains the administrative offices for the county.
Is this a court issue?
Well, I said the government has had many hands on this issue.
This is one of the places in towns where decisions are made and finalized. But for me, sexual education should begin in the home or support of church.
I don't think I like the idea of the government telling me, my siblings, or my friends at a young age that it's okay to have sex, be free, experiment. They don't know my heart or how that might affect or traumatize me.
Yeah, they're not there when we are crying or possibly have a broken heart.
Hey, you two, we have interviews to do.
Hey y'all, I'll see y'all downtown.
Alexis, Shania! Goodness, these teens!
Hey man. What's up, man? How you doing, man? Hey, everybody here? Everybody made it? We were ready to see what the public thinks about dating?
Yeah.
All right. You know, I must say, man, the youth, they missing out on something. They missing a true dating experience. Hey, everybody, we want to go ahead and hear your thoughts. Please text in your thoughts to 803-420-7578.
But keep it clean. You can also check us out on www.thinktruthtoday and receive a free gift for completing a short survey.
Places, the adventure is about to start.
All right.
Alright, coast is clear and subjects are ready for action.
Let's get to the mission. Hey, Prophet, I'm excited about our show today because we will be talking to a variety of people on the streets of Camden today. But first, can you introduce our teams today?
Sure thing, Prophet. I'm excited to have these three with us today. We have Samuel, Alexis, and Shania.
Thanks. We're really glad to be here and excited to go out in the community and find out answers to the question, what does dating mean to you?
Yeah, I must say, it will be interesting. My generation has a very different view on dating than how my parents did.
That's for sure.
I must say, I prefer how my grandparents dated than how it is now.
Yeah, I'd much rather somebody walk up to the door and knock and answer me instead of just honking the horn expecting me to come to the corner.
Yeah, they are missing out on a huge part of the process. Oh, but don't forget to text in your thoughts to 803-420-7578.
But again, keep it clean.
Hey, y'all, this is Monty L. Woodridge.
Hey, I'm excited to be here.
She is the director and writer of Think Truth Today.
Mason, Prophet, I thank y'all for what you're doing in the streets today, and I'm very excited to see the interviews of what we're going to receive. And Alexis, Shania, and Samuel, it may be a little prehistoric for you, but I prefer the courtship.
Yes, that's true. I want to be involved with my daughter and son when they begin today.
Well, seeing I'm not from the Stone Age, can you explain what courtship is?
Sure, courtship is bringing them into the living room where mom and dad, or actually today, mom, dad, and grandparents meet the pursuer. So you're not meeting the pursuer on Facebook.
You don't like Snapchat, Tinder?
Yeah, this right here goes back to last month's Impact meeting. How things have changed over the decades from era to era.
Oh, I think I see somebody. May I?
Sure.
Hi, my name is Alexis, and I'm from Think Truth Today that airs on Spectrum Channel 7. And we're out here today asking people questions about dating and relationships. And I was wondering if it was okay if we filmed you today.
Absolutely.
All
Not at all.
Good. Well, the first question I want to ask you is, what is it that you expect from a dating relationship?
Okay. Well, as far as what I would expect from a dating relationship, in our culture right now, it would be maybe a guy pursuing me. There are things about me that he, thinks he likes, but he's going to kind of keep one foot in, one foot out, just in case he decides he doesn't really like me. Comparable to what people have referred to as our microwave culture. We want what we want it now. We don't want to have to cook it for 7 hours unless it's in a crock pot and it's hands off and easy. So we kind of expect things to be easy, and we have this mentality of, well, if it's not making me happy and it's not serving my best interest, then it's not for me. However, what I would expect personally, because my faith is my #1 priority, I would want a man who seeks the Lord's opinion about it first, and who has the ideal that if it's something that God has directed in his life, it's a commitment, and so therefore having one foot out the door and having backup plans is not an option. And fortunately, very fortunately for me, that's what I got. When my husband and I first started seeing each other, I had the advantage of knowing that he was someone who would pray about stuff like this before he would just pursue it. And he actually later told me he had prayed for like a whole year before he ever laid out his intentions. The other thing I would expect is that someone would lay out their intentions and say, hey, I want to get to know you. I don't want to just play with your heart. I don't want to, just go by my feelings alone and then be wishy-washy. And, even if it's my heart that's hurting, I end up hurting your heart in return. I would expect it to be someone who says, we're just going to get to know each other. We're going to be careful. We're going to try to keep it clean, I understand everybody has their faults. Like, we have so many rules, especially like every generation is like a pendulum that swings from this to this and back here and back here. When ideally what we would do is eliminate the either the legalism or the greasy grace, as we call it, from the picture, and take the best of each sides of that pendulum to strike that balance.
Yeah.
So there are things in, our grandparents' culture that were traditional, they were of value, and maybe there was some legalism, but the reason it got that way is because people were trying to be disciplined with it. They had good intentions. And then here we have our generation on the other side that has great intentions, but we're a little too whiny, I guess, about it. Like, oh no, this doesn't suit me and serve me, then maybe I don't want it. We're too wishy-washy. So as far as that goes, the ideal dating or courtship relationship would be one that constantly looks at the heart. I think that if you're going to keep your priorities in order, you constantly have to keep yourself in check. Am I being legalistic about it? Because Jesus said it's about the heart. If a man even looks on a woman unless he's already done it. Now, obviously, physically that hasn't happened, but I think what Jesus was trying to get the Pharisees to understand when he said that was it's about what comes out, what your action, what you produce with your actions is coming from what's inside of you. And you can have the right actions all day long, but if you have the wrong heart about it, it's still wrong. And so I think that is the ideal. You know, I would say my model is closer to courtship, but I don't care what you call it. If you are constantly trying to keep yourself in check, what are my motives here? Is this a healthy, are we developing a healthy relationship? We're getting to know each other, and are we connecting spirit first, then soul, then body in the right context? You know, everybody falls, everybody stumbles, everybody makes mistakes, but it's two people giving 100%. Both give 100%. It's not 50-50, because we're not a very good judge of our 50% versus another person's 50%. That makes sense.
So here's another question. You talked about somebody being spiritually grounded and having that belief. What if you meet somebody and they meet all the criteria, they treat you kindly, you guys connect on a mental level, but they don't have that spiritual belief? Then what?
Okay, well, I've experienced that too. Actually, the last person I dated before I got together with my husband. And I was kind of in a spiritually dry place, and I mean, we connected on a lot of levels, but not spiritually. And to this, I would say it's not a mere discipline as far as understanding what's really important, because marriage isn't chemistry. Marriage is taking out the trash, washing the dishes, you know, smelling each other's bathroom visits. It's reprimanding the kids, and how are you going to, you know, reprimand them? So I don't think it's necessary so much to just say, oh, we got to, you know, just be completely practical about it, no emotion. But I think that when your priorities are in order as far as what actually matters in a healthy relationship, you know, you're going to have to connect there first, essentially, is what I'm saying. And honestly, if you connect with someone, you have a chemical connection with someone, all these other, you know, things in common, but you don't have that spiritual grounding. And so let's say, okay, theoretically, for people who are not Christian, who don't believe the same thing, as far as their intuitive self, their real self, their core self, if you just simply like the idea of the feeling that that relationship gives you, you're headed for disaster, and it's not worth it. But so many times we're not going to really know that. We might know it in our head. We're not going to really know it in our heart until we experience it for ourselves. And this is where I say God likes to use the scars in your life to accomplish His purposes, even when maybe what we do and say and think isn't exactly what He would have us do and say and think. He is still going to use that to accomplish whatever purpose He is trying to do in our lives.
Gotcha. So if I'm with somebody and I don't feel like we're connecting on a spiritual level, how long do you think is reasonable to give it before I say, it's not working, let's walk away?
So this is a tricky question, because there are times where we could use someone's shortcomings once we get familiar with them to say, maybe they're not spiritually where I thought they were, let me just walk away. And there's that option, that opportunity for the culture that we've grown up in to influence our decision and commitment. And so as far as that goes, my first instinct is to be like, if I'm starting to date a guy, we haven't been together very long, we're just getting to know each other, and I see that we are, I don't think we have to be perfectly spiritually on the same level, but definitely headed in the same direction, and definitely a comparable spiritual maturity level, or, you know, core self maturity level for those who may not be Christian. I think that I would probably just be like, I'm not wasting my time, not wasting your time, you know, like if that doesn't line up, then it doesn't matter what else does line up. However, when it comes to my husband, once we got married, you know, I could have said, oh my gosh, I see all these shortcomings that I didn't see before, and I'm just not willing to deal with that. Like, I didn't know what I was getting into. Well, see, that's where covenant comes in. If you look at Genesis, where, I'm sorry, it may not have been Genesis, it's Abraham I'm thinking of, and I wanted to say it was Adam. It was Abraham. The Lord with Abraham, He performed a ceremony where it was their legal contract for a covenant, okay? There were a couple things significant in the Jewish culture here. One being that the instigator of the covenant is bound by it, whether or not the recipient and the person agreeing to the covenant stays in it or honors it. So in this ceremony, and it's kind of weird to us, so I'm not going to explain what the ceremony was, but check it out. But when God made the promise, the famous promise he made to Abraham that he would father many nations, he performed that legal contract ceremony that they used to essentially say through his actions, not just his words, I'm in this covenant whether you are or not. And so ultimately that's what we're going for.
All right. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. That was a really good conversation. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
The question is, what is dating and how has it changed over the decades?
Dating has changed in a lot since I was dating in the 50s and the 60s. And I believe it's changed for the good. And by that I mean that there's a lot more friendships between boys and girls now, rather than the girls sit in one corner of the dance floor and the guys, and and there's wallflowers. Children I call them children. Teenagers and older people are more aware of the society and how they should treat each other. I'm a positive person, and I want to let everybody know that there are good people in this world, and the young people.
Do you feel like the social media plays a big part now in the dating now?
Yes, the dating group, the ones that finds boys and girls and match. Yes, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. A good thing is the compatibility, that you have a choice, and the other thing is you don't know whether you're going to get a dud or not.
Yeah. So for you, if I could ask, for teens, what would advice you give to teens when they start off dating? Some do's or don'ts?
The best advice that I can give young teens now is listen to your mother and father. They have been there, they've done that, and they are the best that can help them through those years.
Well, I thank you so much for your time, and nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you.
Yes, ma'am.
I have young girls and I have young boys. At what age do you think it's okay for them to go start dating unsupervised?
I got a little girl, so it's kind of hard to ask me that and be subjective. I'm gonna say like 16, 17.
Why 16, 17?
Well, 16, she's just getting at the age where she's trying to mature and becoming a lady and a woman herself. And then they have to take on some kind of responsibilities to have, like, to grow into adulthood. You know what I mean? To have, to give them the chance to make a mistake. You know what I mean? So if they do make a mistake, they can kind of work it out. It's earlier in life instead of later on.
What about if it's a boy?
Well, boy, I'll be honest with you. Guys are a little bit more lenient on boys as far as the dating thing, but I would much rather him be about 14 or 15 as well before he started dating.
Okay, so I'm married. So when you're dating, you think it's okay to go ahead and live with the person you date with?
Well, I guess now it's a little bit different of a scenario. Back in the day, I probably wouldn't feel that way, but now, I mean, marriage is not like, to me, as it used to be. Like, I feel like now, like, just having that bond between two people, it doesn't have to have a piece of paper, but solidify that, you know what I mean? I feel like it's just a mutual agreement between two people who love each other, respect each other. That should be enough.
Okay, so say for instance they did try to get married. Do you think it would have built a healthier marriage?
I don't always think it makes a healthier relationship always. I think sometimes putting middlemen in the middle of a relationship sometimes makes it more difficult in ways, because now you're combining everything. Like now, you know what I mean? Like when before it was just you two living together and respecting each other. Now it's everything's one. You know what I mean? And then you have to take on that kind of like burden and with both partners. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, I think it's more. I think it makes things more difficult, more complicated, honestly.
Okay, so do you think in today's society that it's possible to date and be absent?
Yeah, I definitely do. I hope so. I mean, I would like to think my daughter would be able to date somebody without having that physical connection. You know what I mean? Like, I think that it takes a lot away from the relationship once that gets into the mix. You know what I mean?
Okay, so how old is your daughter?
She's 5.
Okay, so you got ways to go where you get there. But okay, so she's 16 now. All right, how are you going to help her? Or how are you going to help her? Have you thought about how you're going to help her with dating?
Well, I always try to treat my daughter with respect and love, and hopefully she'll look for that in her. You know what I mean? And I mean, once she gets a certain age, I like to be able to take her out on a date and to show her exactly how a man's supposed to treat her. You know what I mean? Like, and then hopefully she'll just reflect that in her views of who she wants to be with in life. You know what I mean?
Hey, that sounds great. Sounds a great example. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
So my first question is, what age were you able, or what age do you think it's okay to date?
I think once you turn about 15 or so, I think once you're in high school, you can start dating at a younger age. I mean, you can have it chaperoned, but I do think that once they're about 15, they can start going on dates unsupervised.
So what age do you think it's okay to start dating unsupervised?
15, 16? Yeah.
So about what age do you think it's okay, do you think it's okay to live with that person you're just dating?
No, I think maybe once they're out of college, that's okay to start living with your significant other.
So without being married?
Right. Yeah. So I would say like once you hit 22, 23, you're about the age to start living with your significant other.
So what do you guys think dating is like for you?
I guess now that we're married, dating has changed significantly. Instead of, I guess, constantly going out, we kind of, pick dates inside, or I guess it's less like every day is more of a date. Like going out is supposed to be a date. I don't know.
How do you think like dating changed over the generation?
I think there's just a difference. Back then, back in the 1960s, I suppose, that they did courtships. Yeah. And there's just, I guess, courting has kind of faded out, and it's just, the dating game is different. The world's different, technology's different, so everything's changed. Yeah.
Do you think relationships are better like through technology or when you meet the person in real life?
So I don't know. I'm not very into tech stuff, but I know a lot of people find love in relationships through technology, so I really don't know. I guess it's each person has their preference.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
My question is, what is dating and how do you feel it's changed over the decades?
Wow, what is dating? Well, being a pastor, I view dating as in courting. So you're getting to know that significant other, and you're getting to know their families, and I would say, spending time together, learning their likes, learning their hobbies. Because really, I believe that it takes all of that to be able to fall in love at some point.
Let me ask you, do you think now, being a pastor with all of the social media that's out there now, the Snapchats, the Facebook, do you think that do that play a part for a positive way or negative way in our teens dating?
That's a great question. I think it can play both ways. I think positively, you can get to know their families that way through social media sometimes, if they're out of the state or in different parts of the country. I think negatively, though, you have to be careful because you can get sucked into comparisons and finding what you don't have in that person and starting to look. So that can be frustrating.
And I know now, in the era that we're living in now, do you think it should be an age on parents when they allow their children to date? Should it be a certain age, or?
I'd say, I mean, for me, it's probably going to be around the 16, 17 age, just depending on maturity level. I mean, we have a toddler right now, so I wouldn't want to let her go at all. But I'd say probably about the 16, 17.
I understand.
Yeah.
And just one last question. What advice could we give to our youth or either young adults that are wanting to date or just thinking about dating? What's some good advice we could give them?
Good advice. I would say try not to find that perfect person because they're not out there. People are going to let you down. If you come into it with those expectations of knowing that this person is a human, they're not perfect, they have flaws, then you're much more willing to accept them the way they are. And then being a pastor, I would say you need to have Jesus at the center of that relationship, because you have that, then you're going to be, God's going to choose to bless it the right way. So.
Well, I thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, y'all. That's a wrap.
There were many different views, but not all of them were correct.
That's right. I want to choose the path that leads to the healthiest lifestyle. I want to be a healthy mom one day. Ditto. Healthy physically, mentally, spiritually. Seems like today in the world is for sharing.
Just keeping it real. Sharing body fluids, whether through kissing or otherwise, still spreads diseases.
I remember Pepe with those stats from South Carolina, how they ranked in the U.S.
Chlamydia ranked number 7.
Syphilis is 11.
Gonorrhea 5, HIV/AIDS 13.
I'm happy. I'm married and happy, man. Scary out there.
Well, y'all, it doesn't have to be a doom and gloom ending, but we do have options, and and it is better just to wait for now instead of just doing the dating game.
Well, that's why we're out here to take a warrior stance, so we can make a change. Because every choice that we do is going to lay the foundation for the next generation. So, let's, glasses, make a change!